All right, my friends, take the headphones off. I had a little technical difficulty here. At the start up, had an update on my software that I'm using, and it, for whatever reason, wanted to mute my mic. But anyway, water under the bridge. Sorry for my tardiness, and the topics I wish to discuss today might seem to be as bit of old news, but whatever. We're going to dive right in here. Tardiness that I had today and making this next recording was simply the fact I've been working a lot of overtime and had some family things I had to attend to, and that's why I missed last week. However, I'm back and ready to go. So anyway, today what I want to talk about is they recently did the Juneteenth, and I want to discuss about that, and I also want to discuss about um, Dwayne the Rock Johnson made it to the cover of People magazine, I do believe, and they discussed about his possibility of running for president of the United States. And so, anyway, these are things I wish to talk about today. And anyway, he uh, I really like The Rock. Anyway, so first up, want to discuss the Juneteenth. So let me go ahead and pull that up here real quick, and so that I don't screw anything up while I'm discussing this. Okay, so it's called Juneteenth National Independence Day, and historically known as Jubilee Day. Emancipation Day, Freedom Day, Black Independence Day is a federal holiday in the United States commemorating the emancipation of African American slaves. It is also often observed for celebrating African American culture. Originating in Galveston, Texas, it has been celebrated annually on June 19th in various parts of the United States since 1865. The day was recognized as a federal holiday just a few days ago on the 17th. When President Biden, I'm sorry, Mr. President, there for mispronouncing your name, President Biden signed the Juneteenth National Independence Day Act into law. Now, what I want to talk about with this is it's about frickin' time. I am so glad for this national holiday being recognized as an end of the treacherous and abominable and wicked institution of slavery that was practiced for many years here in the United States. I am so glad that we have this holiday now, a federal holiday. In fact, I had never really heard of this until President Biden signed this into law, and I am very glad that Mr. President Joe Biden actually did this. Some people might want to scoff at it. I think it's a wonderful thing. It's milestones. I mentioned in an early episode about milestones that we have achieved in the United States, and this is one of them. Yes, we did have slavery for a number of years here in the United States, and that's regrettable. But we're dealing with a time frame that many of us can't even understand. A time frame when people of a particular color were deemed as property to be bought and sold. Women really didn't have much of a voice and weren't really. I want to be careful here because I don't want to be misinformative. But from the things that I've read, women very rarely ever got to offer an opinion in the congregation, not a congregation, that's not the word I'm looking for, but assembly of men. Women were to be quiet and men did all the talking. Now, this was a cultural thing. Now, is it okay? No. By today's standards, we look at it and I look at it, and we'll go with that, and have a hard time understanding what in the heck were you thinking. But at the same time, when the nation was founded, men wore white stockings and like capris. So what the heck, and powdered wigs and all this stuff. And So, whatever. But we have advanced. This is a testament. This is a mile marker in the United States' history to celebrate the end of a treacherous institution and to celebrate, in my mind, a advancement, a progression, a where we took a huge leap forward into the modern era and into looking at people as fellow humans, instead of, oh, you're not the same as me because of your skin color or whatever. And these are things that I'm very glad for taking place that we can reflect on. Now, I mentioned earlier that I believe in Christianity. I was raised in that, and I believe in Christianity. And you'll have to indulge me here if I'm going somewhere with this. There's a passage in the Old Testament. The Israelites were slaves to the Egyptians for a number of years, and they got to leave Egypt. And I want to say it was when they crossed the Jordan River, but it might have been when they crossed the Red Sea. I'd have to look this up. But I'm pretty sure it was when they crossed the Jordan River that the leader of the time, being Joshua, if I'm right, and it was the Jordan River crossing, then it was Joshua that was leading them. If I'm wrong and it was the Red Sea crossing, then it was Moses. Regardless, the leader of the Israelite nation at this time had the elders from the tribes to gather a stone, and they placed them in a particular location to this body of water, whether it was the Red Sea or Jordan River. My memory fails me at this time, but it's one of those two. Anyway, and what it was, and they said in the Holy Scriptures that, I'm going to paraphrase here, but said, when your children or your grandchildren come up and they say, what do these stones mean? Or what do these stones represent? Or why are these things here? Then it is your duty to discuss them. Tell them about how you were slaves in the nation of Egypt and how you were brought forth out of there, out of bondage, and became your own nation and settled the land of what is now the nation of Israel. So, this being said, I'm reflecting on this because this is what I'm talking about. This is a historical stone that the United States is being able to set. So that my children, which are young, I have two precious girls, when they get older and Juneteenth comes around. Now, I haven't read into the legislation to see if it's just a national holiday or if it's to be observed with business closings and whatnot. I hope it's for business closings, just like the 4th of July or whatever, because it is that important. Now, maybe it's just important to me. I don't know. But I hope that all those that see this, if you really stop and think about it, it is monumental. This is a stone, a historical stone for us to place, and it'll be on our calendar. And when our children say, what is Juneteenth? It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know what that means. It's not a day. It's Juneteenth. What is, okay, it's on the 19th. Why doesn't it say June 19th? What is so special? Then we can tell them that back in 1865, slavery was ended on this day. And that is great. I am so glad for this. I'm pumped. I'm fired up over this. I did work all night last night, and this has got me all fired up and excited because this is great. I mean, this is great. I'm so glad for this. We are acknowledging that we have taken a step forward into human rights, into equality. The Bible teaches, yes, there were slaves, there were servants, there were this and that and the other, and that's a whole nother discussion for another time. Possibly I might get into, I don't know. But the Bible does teach that in the eyes of Almighty God, and I believe most religions, if not all religions, major religions, teach this, that all people are equal before the eyes of God. In Christianity, every man will give a account, or will give a explanation in the day of judgment to God Himself over what they did. That's a chilling thought, but nobody's going to be talking for someone else. Each one is going to discuss what they did, and also the each man is um, all precious in the sight of God. There are verses in the Holy Scriptures that discuss, in the Christianity Bible, that discuss how all are important to God. All are there for God. Uh, he seeks everyone. Um, there is a Calvinistic doctrine that's some whole another topic, maybe for another day. But the way I read the Scriptures, and with my common sense, my own independent opinion, is that we are all the children of God. He made us, He is the Father of us all, and we are all equal in His eyes. Now, as far as treatment might vary, because some want to be bad, some might want to be good, some fall in between, whatever. That's a whole nother topic, but still, my point is the ground is level at the foot of a cross. There is a song that was written, and I really like that, and I feel like it is backed up by Scripture. And the bottom line is there is no difference in any human being on this earth from one to the other, in a manner of speaking, as to be treated. Yes, some might be taller, some might be shorter, some might be, like me, a little bit on the, okay, quite a bit overweight, and some are skinny. Whatever. My point is, we are human beings, and because of our skin color or our sex or uh, any other type of thing like that, we are all the same. We all bleed red. Seriously. Have a member of the LGBTQ um, uh, community. Uh, I don't know how many letters there are now and all that, but this is the one I'm actually able to remember. One of them, a straight person, a white person, a African American, an Asian American, and it doesn't matter the skin color. It doesn't matter you get them and you line them all up and you cut each one of them on the hand, and what are they going to do? They're all going to bleed red, because we are all the same in a manner of speaking. We are all human. We all have flaws, we all have shortcomings, and we all have triumphs. And that leads me to the second thing about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Um, I very seriously doubt Mr. Rock will ever see this video. I very seriously doubt I would ever get the honor or the privilege of meeting Mr. Johnson. But he is one of a few people that I hold in high regard. And the really amazing thing about him is he's alive. Teddy Roosevelt's another one. My point is, they were at a very low point in their life, and they overcame it, and they went way beyond it, went beyond expectations, and became success as we view success. And I know I'm dealing with on the human level here, but he hit a very low point in his life, and he overcame that and became the household name that he is today. As far as wrestling goes, I started watching wrestling at the end as he was phasing out of wrestling. I liked him then. I liked him now. He's great. He's energetic. I love it when he makes appearances and talks smack on WWE. Again, I have no sponsors. Nobody is paying me to mention them or anything. I'm just talking to you as I would if you were sitting in my living room, which I am not in. I'm in the study. But anyway, that's another story for another day. But The Rock is an example. He is an inspiration. That's the word I'm looking for. He's an inspiration to us all, because he didn't let that get him down. Another man that I know, It's not a household name. I know him personally. I knew him for many, many years. Um, Good friend. He had a car accident that left him in a wheelchair. And he overcame that. And yes, it was a struggle. And it was tough. It was tough and it was hard sometimes for him to make it to work. But he did. And that is remarkable to me. He could have stayed home and drew disability. And there would have been nothing wrong with that at all. I am not knocking anybody with a disability. But in his case, he could work. He could still work. And he didn't take the easy road. He overcame, or maybe I should say went around the obstacle. And The Rock also overcame. Now, everything behind the scenes and all that may have went on, I don't know. As far as influence goes to help him along the way, I don't know. Only he can answer those things. But I guess what I'm trying to say, he is an inspiration. Now, yes, I would like to see him run for president. And do I think he needs to have prior government, or governing, should I say, experience? There was a time I thought that, and now I don't. I'm a registered independent. I've already mentioned that. I've discussed about how both parties have a tendency to make me unhappy with things that they do and behaviors that they portray. And my point is, nowhere in the Constitution is it a requirement that you have prior governing experience. And we've learned this with President Donald Trump. Went from a uh, billionaire to the president of the United States with no prior governing experience. Now, I will say the choice of his to become president is still baffling to me because he had the kind of money he could buy in any politician he wanted to get legislation for him and his company and his family and friends or whatever to help shape things the way he wanted them to be. And he chose to become president. Still, my point is with him, there's no prior governing experience needed. It would be nice if you have a little common sense. It would be nice if you um, could understand and see what's going on and all that. But still, the bottom line is the Constitution was set up so that government offices and officials could be embodied by regular citizens. And back then, I mean, yes, it was a must for you to be educated. But as far as education goes, you learn, arithmetic, reading and writing, all these things that we take for granted today. Uh, that was kind of a big deal back then because it didn't really happen that much. A lot of people went through life never knowing how to write their name, and they couldn't pick up a book and read it. So it was quite remarkable if you did, and that yes, it was never a stipulation in the Constitution that you'd be able to perform these things, but at the same time, it was implied that you could. It's a basic thing to us today, and so yes, a higher learning doesn't mean that you have to be a nuclear scientist or understand the theories of black holes or rest his soul, be like Stephen Hawking, an absolute genius and brilliant man. In order to lead the country, it is a simple fact that ordinary people with ordinary, regular skills and understanding are able to become a part of a cog in the wheel of the machine of government. And so The Rock does not need prior. I mean, the man's got charisma enough. I mean, my word. Now, I do understand when he endorsed then Vice President Biden and Senator Harris that there was a lot of backlash against him because of his endorsement and whatnot. He felt like he needed to do what was best. That's water under the bridge, okay? Um, he felt like Mr. Trump wasn't handling things right, and he thought that this next team would handle things better. If not right, they would handle it better than the existing administration. That's great. What have I said several times? You have a voice, and it matters. Likewise, The Rock has a voice, I mean, and he made it known, and it mattered. Now, should it sway people? That's up to you to decide. Um, I'm not here to try to sway anybody. I am here trying to make you think about things and hear my opinion about things. And maybe, hopefully, if you haven't seen a particular angle, perhaps I will present this side of this angle and you'll see things in a more complete picture. But anyway, whatever. What I'm trying to say is it would be an honor, it would be great, in my opinion, for The Rock to run for president. Now, will he do it uh, against President Biden? I don't know. Only The Rock knows. And that's up to him to decide. Him and his family, that is a big step. And it warrants a lot of attention. And I know that he is close with his family, and he won't be as close with them if he would assume the mantle of President of the United States. That's just the way it is. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this on a previous episode, but as several people in my past, back when President Obama was president, I believe it was his first term, were complaining about how many vacations then President Obama took. And I thought about it, and I told him I was glad because he had two young girls. And that man, President of the United States, leader of the free world, top of the food chain, if you will, in political spectrum or whatnot, that man has my respect because he did not neglect the most important thing in his life, and that was his two precious daughters. Me and Mr. Obama might not agree on everything politically, or we may, but the point I'm trying to make here is he did not get swept up, and I'm sure it would have been easy to do in the world of governing, being president, and everything involved in that, things I can't even begin to imagine. Um, but he was mindful enough to take time out regularly for his family and go on vacation. I'm sure it was interrupted constantly. President is never off duty. I understand all that, and I know he had the Secret Service shadowing him and his family's every move or whatever. But as best of his ability, he took time out for his family, and that is respectable. That is honorable, and I like that. And that's the way things should be. Um, so, now granted, he had young kids, and so does The Rock. And my point is, like with some presidents in the past, their children was already grown. It's not that big a deal. You know what I'm saying? Children have already went on and made lives of their own. I'm getting off track here. But still, um, it would be a great thing, I think, for The Rock to run for president. And because, be completely honest, I like him, and I would like to see him run. And I mean, just imagine his his slogan of his foreign policy: "Can you smell what the United States is cooking?" You know, something like. I know I'm being a little corny here, but this is the kind of things I'm talking about. It would be great. Yes, there's a seriousness, but at the same time, it would be wonderful. He might not ever do it, and that's up to him, and that's totally fine. It's his business. Um, but I'm just saying, hey, it's on. They're discussing it on. I want to say People Magazine, so it'd be great. Anyway, that's all the time I got for today. You have a voice, and it matters. Thank you for listening.